Sanyango here, hoping that you're healthy, wealthy, and free, and loving your life, as difficult as it may be sometimes. But that's what we strive for, right? That's what we strive for. To love life constantly, even through the difficult times, to always find that thing that we are grateful about to bring us back to the reason why we love our lives. This means our individual lives, right? So I just wanted to actually want to do a follow-up on the video that I made yesterday about I can have it all, you can have it all, and the stages, creating that life vision, clearing any beliefs, doubts, bullshit rules that may be blocking us from realizing that these things are actually possible, because they're possible because someone else has done it, so why can't I? It's all in the mindset. That's how I see it. Okay? And then once you have that vision, once you have that belief over there, then it's breaking it down into a timeline. So if it's a 20-year dream, how can I then do it in 12 years? Oh, sorry. Well, it could be that. How can you do it in 12 years? But if it's a 20-year dream, then what do I need to do in the next 12 months in order to ensure that this actually gets done in 20 years? If it's a 20-year dream, maybe you break it down into 5 years. Okay? So what do I need to get done in 5 years? Still for the 20-year dream, because nothing is impossible. Right? So who is it? There's Patrick Lumumba of Kenya. There's a time when he said, when you plan like you will never die. Meaning you plan like you'll be here forever. You're planning for yourself in the next 1,000 years, or maybe in the next generation. But when you pray like you will die the next minute. You put it all out there. Pour it out in that moment. Because you never know if you'll be there tomorrow. But when you plan like you'll be there forever. Plan like you will never die. And there was an example, I'm not sure where I heard it from, but somebody mentioned, what if Nelson Mandela decided that he wanted to live his life? The fight against apartheid wasn't just for him. It was generations to come. It was for the whole of South Africa. So if he was just thinking about himself and thinking about tomorrow or while I'm alive, he wouldn't have given up the time that he was in prison for. He went to prison for millions of people, for generations to come. When you plan like you will never die. So if you're going to be here for the next 1,000 years, what would you like to change? What would you want to see changed? That actually wasn't the point of the video, actually. It was to build up on, once you have this plan, this structure, one thing that we need to realize is that this vision that we have also evolves. Why does it evolve? Because we evolve. At the initial point when you're setting this plan, especially if it's the first time that you've actually set it, you want, I was about to say golden roses, but you want everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. Start off with wanting everything and see how that plays out. As time goes by, then you realize, okay, maybe this isn't exactly what I want. Maybe I want to restructure it to something a little less extravagant, or maybe a little more extravagant, depending on how you see things are going. If I could actually get this done a lot faster. I actually saw a headline today about an 18-year-old kid. I think he's Afro, he's Wakanda. An 18-year-old kid who made, how old was he? He made $18,000 in 3 days by offering online classes to adults on how to invest in the stock market. And the tagline there, or in the article, it actually said, he's the perfect example of shooting for the moon and landing in the stars. Yeah, that's correct. I was thinking about the difference, moon and stars, like which one. Yeah, so shooting for the moon, landing on the stars. No, shooting for the stars, landing on the moon. You get what I'm saying? So it should be, it should be shooting for the stars and landing on the moon. Yeah, that's the correct one. I'm not sure what they actually wrote. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, don't limit the dream that you have. If it's 50-year dream, then have it there. That when I'm 50, when I'm old, I want to be able to live in a beautiful, massive home, on top of a hill, or whatever. And then now you realize, how do I get there? Okay? And then that could change to, I want to travel more. I want to settle down in a more modest home. I want to have homes in different parts of the world. So maybe I don't want just a home, like a house on the castle, but I want a different home by the sea. You want one in a forest, if that's your thing. It's okay, But we need to realize that these visions evolve, and therefore do not force yourself to stick to one thing. If you feel like at some point you're tugging towards something else, you feel that you're moving towards something else, then test that out. Test it out and see how it feels. Don't immediately reject it because you've already set a plan, right? Because sometimes we set a plan out of spur of the moment, an emotion, a reaction to something that's just happened, and then we realize that when you really sit down with yourself and listen to yourself, that kind of changes. That's not exactly what I want. That's because I had just watched Pimp My Crib. That's because I just watched Pimp My Ride. That's because I just seen this video about this, billionaire doing these things. And then you get to sit down and realize that. And just as a tidbit to add on to this applies even not just in your vision and your goal. It applies to an individual, just in the phases of life. As you're going through life, you should be okay with changing who you are. There's nothing wrong with changing who you are. And I made a video about this. It's okay to change. Because in every moment, after every experience that we go through, you change, I change, the way I think shifts. And that's the idea. You're not meant to be the same person that you were 10 years ago. You are meant to evolve. That is the human being. That's why we grow. Okay? So it's okay if your vision changes because you're evolving, you change. You believe one thing one time and it changes into something else. For example, you believe that you're not a runner when it comes to, physiological stuff, and then at some point, because you realize that you need to learn certain habits as you go on in life, then you start going running. That's something that I've started. Not running, I just do like a 10-minute run in the morning. Somebody laughed at me because I mentioned that, so these days, I actually go running in the morning. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so good. How far do you run? I'm like, oh, it's not so far. Like, I just run 10 minutes as soon as I wake up. And they're like, psh. And for a moment, I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't call myself a runner. And then I sat with that feeling. And I realized, no, I don't like the way it makes me feel. Maybe because of the way the idea came to me. That it's because somebody reacted this way to me saying I'm a runner and how I do it, that now I should change. I was like, no, I am a runner. I'm a runner because I wake up and I run 10 minutes every day, and that's good enough for me. Your life is how you make it. Evolve as you want. You know, choose what you want and don't care about the reactions, even in you, within yourself. Choose who you want to be and don't care about the reactions that you're going to have inside. You know, test it out. Test it out and then realize that, okay, maybe it doesn't work. Let it go. Pick something else. Because we're supposed to experience life. You don't just live and not care what's happening. You experience life, and you experience life through testing different situations, tasting different experiences, and taking in the effect of it, realizing that this has made me feel good, so I like it. Let me see how I can incorporate this into my life. This, not so much. I don't like it. I don't like how it makes me feel, how the thoughts that I get after I experience it. So let's cut it out. Let's just let it go. And it could be difficult, these things, but that's the evolution that we need to start with. And once, as I say, it's a muscle that I'm still learning to build. I'm still growing. But once you slowly begin to realize you can change whenever you feel like it. If the situation requires me to be a different person, and then I like it, then I can evolve and change into this person. Let nobody tell you that you need to remain who you were 10 years ago. There's no such thing as being consistent in terms of who you are. Let nobody lie to you. Be who you want to be. Be who you want to be whenever you want to be that person. As long as it sits well with you, and this is a philosophy that I'm really trying to live by. As long as it doesn't bother or violate anybody else, be who you want to be. Okay? But live by who you are, who you've decided to be. Live in your integrity. Let it be a balance within you. That every time you sit in silence with yourself and you breathe in and breathe out and you're left with your thoughts, you're okay. You're okay with the way you feel in your evolution. Okay? Alright, that's my jam for the day. I hope it helps you out, because it's helping me out even just sharing it and thinking about it. So I hope it helped you out. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.